Thank you, Mr. Chair. I rise to offer my amendment to prohibit funds from being used for the EPA's Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund. The Inflation Reduction Act, which should have been more accurately named the Green New Deal in disguise, established a taxpayer-funded $27 billion slush fund that sends taxpayer dollars to far-left political organizations and their favorite, the Chinese Communist Party. This green bank is nearly 3 times more than the EPA's entire FY23 appropriated funds. Eliminating this slush fund will reduce the budget deficit, protect the government against corruption, and stop China from receiving our taxpayer dollars. When asked during a committee hearing if the EPA could guarantee that none of the funds from this green bank slush fund would go to China, the EPA official in charge of overseeing how funds were spent literally stated, quote, "It's a little more complicated," end quote. He didn't say yes or no. It's a little more complicated. Over 20 million Americans are currently behind on their utility bills. The American people are not begging for more electric vehicles or solar panels. They are asking for lower energy costs. In fact, the world is demanding it of us because we could literally export freedom to our allies across the globe if we were to export our liquefied natural gas rather than purchase energy from our enemies. If Democrats wanted to do something about the current energy crisis, rather than pandering to radical environmental extremists, they would unleash American energy instead of forcing us to use inadequate and unreliable green energy. These policies will not only fail to meet our economy's energy needs, but they will also make America reliant on wind turbines and solar panels that are made in China. America is an energy superpower. We should use our vast resources to restore our economy's vitality, ensure our national security, and put hardworking Americans back to work. I urge the passage of my common sense amendment to put an end to the Biden-Harris regime's pandering to the CCP. And Mr. Chair, I reserve.
The gentlewoman reserves. The gentlewoman. For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Maine seek recognition?
Mr. Chair, I claim time in opposition to this amendment.
Gentlewoman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This amendment, again, is purely an anti-climate messaging amendment. It prohibits funds for Section 134 of the Clean Air Act, which is better known as the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund. The Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund is a $27 billion investment to mobilize financing and private capital to address the climate crisis, ensure our country's economic competitiveness, and promote energy independence. I need to note that all $27 billion of those dollars are mandatory spending. This bill does not contain any funding for the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund. So the effort or the effect of this amendment is nothing more than anti-climate rhetoric. We are here to protect the welfare of the American public, and we cannot close our eyes to the impact of climate change. We need to make smart investments that will result in more resilient communities, mitigate the impacts of climate change, and protect our world for future generations. I oppose this amendment, and I reserve.
Gentlewoman reserves. Gentlewoman from Colorado is recognized.
Mr. Chair, I yield.
Gentlewoman from Colorado yields.
Yield back.
Gentlewoman from Maine yields.